Okay, we're back. Got another new product video here. We've been getting a lot of new products in the shop still here recently over the last couple weeks or so. So I'm going to try to run through them all, give a little brief description of each one as I go. So starting out, a lot of new stuff here from Geecrach. We'll start out with these stealth rigs. So we do have the stealth 8s, the 7s, and not seen here is the 5s, but we do have a few of those in stock. So I'll start out here showing you guys the stealth 8. So the stealth 8 is essentially an Alabama rig built for hover strolling. I'm going to go ahead and pull one out here, give you guys a closer look. So there it is. You can see it's got 7 outer arms and 1 in the middle for a total of 8 arms and 8 spots that you can add a bait onto this rig. And really the first thing you'll notice out of the pack is just how thin the wire gauge is on these outer arms. I think it's like 0.8 millimeters. So like I said, these rigs are designed for mid strolling, so you're going to add minnow style baits and jig heads onto this rig, and then you're actually going to shake your rod tip as you reel this thing along, and those really thin arms are going to get a lot of flex and bounce, which is really going to accentuate that rolling action on the minnows. So it's really just a pretty cool way. Instead of your standard like paddle style swim baits on an umbrella rig, now you can bring that rolling style straight tailed bait presentation into the umbrella rig style, having 8 baits all at once. So definitely something pretty cool and innovative on the market now. This is definitely going to be one I'm going to pick up and be playing around with this winter time. And then that stealth 7 is actually more along the lines of just like your traditional umbrella rig design. But what really sets apart these rigs is just the quality and the durability of how these things are built. So the first thing you'll notice is that these wires are actually all welded together at the center here with a shrink wrap to cover it all up. So there's no plastic jig head holding all these together, so it's not going to ever bend or break out or pull out of that jig head over time like's an issue with some of the other ones. And then you can see it's got that big long built-in main swivel, so that'll be really nice, preventing that line wrap up in your arms over time throughout the day as you're throwing that rig. You know, sometimes it gets caught up underneath these wires and you get a weak spot in your line and have to retie and stuff. That big long wire swivel in the main line like that is going to really prevent that issue. So that just gives me a lot more confidence. I'm not going to break off or have any foul ups or anything like that. So I'm really liking this design. It just really seems like from top to bottom, the first priority when they built this rig was strength and durability, which is not only good on your wallet, you're not going to break as many baits, but it also, when it comes to just landing big fish, you definitely want something that you know is going to hold up and you're not going to break and open a snap or a swivel or one of those arms break off out of the head or something. So you do pay a little bit more at the cash register with the Geecrach rigs, but you will definitely notice it in terms of durability and quality. And then moving on here, this is the next one we got from Geecrach. This is that Magnum Qbomb. So this is going to be Geecrach's take on the Urchin style bait. And I am really liking these. Actually, they're going to give a kind of a different action and a little different presentation than your traditional Urchin style bait, being as these baits are a blend of elastomer as well as their signature SAF material. So they have a ton of scent to them, and they're also super durable. They're going to be buoyant. But then they also have the silicone skirt material pulled through there instead of your traditional arm. So I think they might do a little bit less water displacement, but just give a little bit, you know, different action. It's going to be a little more subtle than your traditional Urchin. And then these are also some of the only Urchins that I've seen with those highlighted tips, kind of that two-tone color scheme there. So that's pretty cool as well. And then another couple cool things about the Magnum Qbomb are the rigging options. So actually you'll see if you look at it closely there's 3 holes in the bait, and the bait itself is not a perfect circle. It's almost kind of like an onion shape or like a beet shape, if you will. So the bottom's kind of bigger and it kind of tapers up almost to a point at the top there. So if you want to, you know, some guys, they gripe about how much bite they're getting out of their frog hook, or maybe you only have like a 3/0 frog hook available to rig with. So you could potentially slide the frog hook up in that upper hole instead of the middle or bottom hole to kind of grab less of that bait, and it's going to give you a little bit more bite on that hook, or, you know, just kind of whatever you want to do with it. Or it gives you another spot if you want to run your hook or whatever through the main hole and then shove your nail weight over in that secondary hole, something like that. Kind of cool. And they also, what they do is they give you in package here the little wire that it comes with. You can use that, and there's actually a little diagram here on the back of the pack that shows you how to do this. But you can see that one side of it has got an open end and then the other side has got a closed ring. So what you can do is you can take that open end and you can actually clip on a drop shot style weight before you go ahead and shove that all the way through your hole. And then you'll take your hook on the top side and feed it through that little closed ring, you know, go through the ring, grab a little skin of the bait, and it gives you a pretty cool little rig there with your hook nice and up on top with the weight hanging below. So it's going to sit perfect in the water column with your hook point always up and that weight always at the bottom pulling the bait down. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's just something that I haven't seen yet before with any urchins or anyone else really talking about that this is included in the package or anything. So it seems like that could be a pretty sweet little way to rig up this urchin, or I'm sure it works on other urchins as well. So that's the Magnum Qbomb. Next from Geecrach here, we've got the Bellows Gill swimmers. We've got these in the 3.2 inch and the 4.2 inch. So they just took that Bellows Gill profile, made it even more versatile here with the Bellows Gill swimmer. As we all know, that Bellows Gill profile has been tried and true over the last few years, caught tons of big bass for guys all over the world. So they took that profile, added a little paddle tail on the back there, and it just makes this thing even that much more versatile. Gives you a couple more options in terms of rigging, depending on what you're wanting to do with it. I was looking at this 3.2. I think that'd make a really killer swim jig trailer or something like that, or if you need a little more extra action on the back of your chatterbait. And then also that little paddle tail, if you're free rigging or Texas rigging this thing, you hop it up, it separates from the weight. As it falls and spirals back down, that little paddle tail is going to be back there kicking and just give it an extra little bit of action that it didn't have before. So if you're a Bellows Gill fan, definitely check out these swimmers. We got those in stock right now. And then moving on from the Geecrach stuff, here we'll go on to the Qbomb, kind of sticking with that bigger profile Bellows style bait. That's the Qbomb from Fish Magnet, which is another JDM company that's been putting out some pretty unique looking soft plastics on the market lately. So there it is. You can see pretty crazy profile there. It is made out of that same SAF material as the Bellows, so tons of scent, really heavy plastic, and obviously super crazy profile. This thing's going to be really killer on a free rig, and I've even seen some of the Japanese guys putting these on a ball head jig with a skirt and like mid-strolling or just swimming these things through the middle of the water column to get bit. So super unique bait here from Fish Magnet with the Qbomb. Lots of versatility when it comes to rigging these things. I still haven't got a chance to really play around with them too much, but it's definitely going to be something that those fish have not seen before over here in the States yet. And then sticking along with that same line, JDM stuff that they haven't seen yet, there's a new frog from Deps that's called the Buster K. And I think different is definitely the right word to describe this frog. You can just see the whole shape of the body and the cupped face with those feather legs just all around. This thing's got a different profile and a different look to it. And the way it walks and spits is really unlike any frog that I've seen before. It comes in 2 or 3 pretty unique looking colors, and it also has some super soft plastic and some really thick gauge razor sharp hooks in there. So it seems like a really quality frog, especially in terms of showing them something that they have not seen before. They're from Deps with the Buster K. And then keep going here. We're going to move on. We got the Geecrach shrooms, and these are just another urchin nail weight rigging option here from Z-Man. It essentially looks like they just took some of their shrooms and Ed heads, cut the hook part off so it was just the shank and the bait keeper, and then packaged them up, and they're selling them as nail weights for your urchins or your Nico rigs, whatever you want to do. But we do got a bunch of these in, several different more finessey sizes. They're definitely going to be great if you're tired of losing nail weights. These things have a killer bait keeper on them. Once you shove them in there, they're not going to come back out. So then sticking with the urchin trend, we do have a bunch of those uni high densities in stock now. So if you remember that first run of unis that came out, it was still just that traditional Yamamoto style plastic with the salt and super soft, so it sank. The baits didn't last very long, but these new uni high densities, they're made out of that durable elastomer TPE material, so they are more buoyant. They are going to last a long time. And these unis are kind of in their own little category in terms of just size and profile. You don't really see many of the other urchins with this smaller size and those really small arms with kind of the bulbous appendages. So it is a little bit different from the other ones on the market. It's nice to see them now with the TPE option available. So we do have a bunch of these in stock now. You can check those out if you're looking for a new urchin style bait. And then also new urchin style baits. We got these Koiki micros. These are going to be super deadly for you crappie fishermen out there. A lot of my buddies have already been killing them on these things. So you can see just how tiny those little urchin baits are. It's going to take a really small little jig head. But like I said, these things have been absolutely killing the crappie, and being that they're made out of elastomer, you're going to be able to catch crappie on these things all day, maybe even all week before you're going to have to put another one on the hook. So super cool little micro quickies here from Hideup. And then last but not least, for all your storage options for these urchins, we do have the 2 boxes here. The blue one from Kamakatsu and then the clear one from Mihio. These are both essentially the same box. They're the same size and height dimensions and everything, except just one's blue, one's clear, and 2 different brands. But these are made for storing your urchin baits, and you do have to purchase it separately, but they require this foam insert that you can buy from Spro, and it fits perfectly down inside this box. And then you can see you just take your urchins on the wire and just poke the wire down inside the foam in the box there, and it gives you a perfect little storage option for all your urchins. You could hold probably, I don't know, I'd say 12 or so in there, depending on how tight you want it. But we just got a ton of these boxes in. They're going to be available on the website and in store. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about quickie storage options, so we finally do have some of those in stock. So that's going to do it for today's episode of What's New in the Shop. As always, all of these products are available right now on the website. You'll see on our homepage, we got a new arrivals section right there at the top. You'll probably see all these products right there. If you have any questions or anything about any of these products, feel free to drop a comment below. Or if you're local, you can always come down to the shop and talk to us in person, ask us anything you want. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It definitely helps us out. We're trying to grow this channel up a little bit here. So we appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you soon.